All right. Hi, my name is Wayne Kimball, and I'm going to give a speech on methamphetamines. The audience in this group, the ages range from 42 to 63. Let me just go ahead and show you everybody now. Of course, the professor will be very dizzy from that one. Okay. I just want to start this out with saying refusing to use methamphetamines could quite possibly save your life. I'm here to inform the audience the dangers of methamphetamines. I myself am a methamphetamines survivor. I was addicted to methamphetamines for 7 years. As an abuser of methamphetamines for 7 years, I'm here to give you the facts, the truth about how meth works in somebody's life. Today I'd like to give you information on the following topics. Anyway, meth destroys the body physically, and refusing to use methamphetamines can actually save your life. The topic of meth is important to me. The reason for me doing this speech is so that no one else has to go through what I went through. I will tell you briefly about the road I went down and why it's important that you don't go down the same road that I went down. This drug steals your life away. I like to think of it as if the devil came as a powder form, his name would be meth. Because I'm going to take this risk and put myself, my life, and my downfalls out there for all to see, meth took control of my life like any other addictive force. For me, it started out secretly just on the weekends. Me and my buddies, on Friday nights, we'd all get together, we'd drink beer, stand in the driveway, and have a good time, and do the party mode. And then a friend of mine came over with meth one time and did a little snort here, and before you know it, it's like, wow, that's pretty cool. I can party longer, I can stay up later and do these things. And then, of course, we always said it would be saved for the weekend. Never, ever do we take this to work. But the problem with that is those Friday nights turned into, well, we stayed up all night long. I need a little something to keep me awake through Saturday, and before you know it, those Saturday nights bled into Sundays, and I can't go to work like this. I'll try and I'll sleep good Sunday night, but the residual of methamphetamines just keeps you awake, and you don't sleep that well. Of course, that bleeds you into Monday, and before you know it, you're doing meth just to keep you awake through the rest of the week. As time went on, the meth habit started to cost more than what I was making at work. I basically started lying to my wife about where my paycheck was going. My favorite one was, oh, they shorted me this week, I'll get it back next week, or I lost my paycheck. I've used all the lies. I'd say basically whatever I could just to get myself out of a jam. I lied to my family, and most important, I lied to myself. But all of this didn't stop me. I kept doing more and more drugs, and before I knew it, I was selling my personal belongings. Going into the garage and looking around thinking, okay, I could sell this, my wife won't miss that, and my wife won't miss this, and because, certain items that I could basically get rid of when I knew that I wouldn't be caught. As time went on, I started stealing from my wife. Simple way of doing that was I'd take the debit card and remove $20 of it and take $20 or $40 here or there, and then before you know it, I would go ahead and try and convince her that maybe she must have lost it. And the lies went on from there. Anyways, I neglected my outside family. I neglected my mom, my uncle, my aunt, my grandparents. I neglected my immediate family, who at the time was my wife and my 2 oldest daughters. Constantly lying all the time. Some of my family was pretty privy to what was going on, but even still, though, I'd do what I could to keep lying. I continued down this path recklessly, and sooner or later it started to show up physically. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some photos of, you can get these on the internet, and it's easy for me to show these photos because they're not me. But I need you to see this as a comparison of a before and after, before methamphetamines and after methamphetamines. And this is a young lady that spent a couple of years doing methamphetamines, and this is how she turned out. The sad truth is myself, putting myself out there. This was me before methamphetamines. A healthy young man, fat face, loved life. And as time went on, this is me after methamphetamines. Kind of creepy. Not nearly the same anymore. And of course, this is the last picture of me, right here. This is powerful stuff. This is after 5 to 6 years of use as a meth. Takes away your muscle tissues in your face, just completely destroys you. Anyway, as you can see, the pictures, in those pictures, I was 155 pounds. When I started using meth, I was 6'1" and 225 pounds. Weight was not the only physical change. I started losing muscle tone in my face, as I mentioned before, and my teeth started to rot. The picture I'm about to show you are not images of my own teeth, but they are pictures on the internet, and this is the sad truth of how methamphetamine does work. This is what's called meth mouth. It is very real, and after use of methamphetamines, this is what does happen. At the worst point of my addiction, we moved out of state. We moved to another state, and feeling that the problem would stay behind, it didn't. It caught up. It caught up very rapidly. In fact, I found the same old kinds of friends that did the same old kinds of things, and before you know it, I found myself in an apartment, in a drug den, however you want to call it, and I was losing my life. My heart stopped twice one night for about a minute. The other one stopped for about a minute and a half. I completely OD'd. I lost everything. The sad part is you'd think that'd be the end of the drugs for me. Coming to death. Wow, what an impact. But it wasn't nearly enough to actually stop me. I sobered up for about 3 months. And due to that ODing experience, but it's there again, like I said, it wasn't enough. I think the only thing that was going to stop me at that point was death. Anyway, like I say, sobered up for 3 months. We moved back to the original state that I lived in before, and I met with the same crowds, and there again, thinking I could handle it this time, I was nowhere close to handling it. The funny thing is, you know the dangers. You know what's going to happen. You know you can die, but yet that meth just seems to scream louder than anything else. I continue to do drugs, and I continue to lose control. I was fortunate. I was able to break through this bondage and break free from this bondage. However, there are literally hundreds of thousands of people, not just meth, but any type of controlling substance that are stuck in this. They're stuck in this position. Self-medication is typical for those who are trying to cover personal issues. The thing of it is personal issues from the past. The thing of it is, though, is that they do the drugs to feel better. I did drugs to feel better from my past. A lot of things happened to me. And drugs seem to cover that, give me that euphoria of happiness. And the truth of it was, there was nothing happy about it. The bad part was you sober up. And when you sober up, you feel bad because you did what you did. You did the meth. And at my stage of life, it was selling everything, doing everything I could to get the meth. And so therefore, when you sober up, you feel all that guilt come rushing right back into you again. So you feel that on top of the problems that happened in the past, and you combine that again, what do? You self-medicate. It's the easiest way to get out of it again. But it's a spiraling circle. It just keeps going down and down and down. The cycle never ends until you hit rock bottom. According to the Substance Abuse of Mental Health Services Administration, 2009, in the year of 2007 to 2008, 42.8% of the past methamphetamine users age 12 or older reported they obtained methamphetamines recently from a friend or a relative. That's a sad thought. It's just next door. It's closer than you think. If you know somebody, if you know someone or suspect someone you know is on drugs, don't be afraid to get in their face, because their possibility that the next time you'll see them will be at their funeral. Anybody watching this speech that's non-religious or doesn't have any faith basis in God or whatever will probably roll their eyes at this point, and that's fine. That's fine, because it's something that worked for me, and I'm trying to relate to you. That is my objective. I'm about to drop the God bomb, so to speak. 40% of my speech is about what I went through those 7 years. The other 60% of the speech is pretty much God slapped me upside the head. I didn't walk through hell without God. I just didn't know He was present. I had no idea. Basically, He kept me safe in certain situations. My situations of a methamphetamine user were the absolute worst. I was in gunfire. I've done it all. But I stayed protected and had no idea why, so to speak. My purpose is to tell you how bad meth is and to persuade you to stop doing it. Or if you haven't done it, don't do it. It's not that God actually physically came down and what some people say, oh yeah, He came down, He did this. That's not the way it was. But He was there. He protected me without even me knowing it. One of the ways that I feel that He was there was He placed key people in my life. Key people like my wife. Just not giving up. Constantly being there no matter what I did. And that was an awful lot to ask of her, but she did it. Key people like my aunt. Oh, I'm not high, I tell her. I'm not high, and she'd look right in my face and tell me. Key people like my uncle. You ain't getting nothing past him. There were some people that didn't want to believe it, in denial of it, my mother being one. But that's just the way we are. We're people, and that's just the way it happens. The fact of the matter is that these key people all said something to me. Little pieces here and there that I stockpiled somewhere deep inside that eventually were big enough for me to say, okay, it's time to stop. The topic of meth is important to me. The reason for me doing this speech is that no one else will do what I did. If you know somebody, don't go without saying something. Thank you for listening.